War tore through the Salt Lake City Olympics as the French judge, Marie-Reine Lagounet, revealed that she has been pressured to vote for the Russians in the pair skating event. The IOC, International Olympic Committee, then launched an investigation with the FBI, and they quickly uncovered Russian involvement with an alleged organized crime figure. After the series of events that happened in the Winter Olympics, the scandal quickly rocketed up to become one of the most influential and predominant causes for the changes in figure skating. The 2002 pair skating scandal was a turning point in history because it changed the ways the scoring system worked, as well as for the first time in Olympic history, the medal ceremony was repeated and both teams involved were awarded gold. The 2002 Winter Olympics occurred in Salt Lake City, Utah, in the U.S. The year prior to the event, two civil leaders of the Olympic Committee were accused of bribery and lavishing gifts in return for the right to host the Olympic in Salt Lake City. This resulted in several IOC members' expulsion. Tom Welch and David Johnson, heads of the SIOC, resigned, followed by many others after a federal judge acquitted the duo. The short program was scheduled to be before the free skate. The Russian team, Berezhnaya and Silkarite, went to perform before the Canadians, earning themselves a high presentation score and a slightly lower technical score. The Canadian team's score was like the Russians. Presentation scores were higher than the technical. However, their technical score wasn't high enough to beat the Russians, so they were second after the short program. The free skate was held right after the short competition. The Russian teams went first, similar to last time, and skated an unclean program, but they were still in first place. Lastly, Jamie Salé and David Pazier of the Canadian team went on the ice and skated the best we could have done, as said in a later interview by Salé. Their technical merit had 5, 6.8, and 35.9. Their presentation scores, the most important, were 5.8 and 5.9, a 5-to-4 ratio. The French judge was a tiebreaker, and the Russians won. Many news station commenters like NBC Sports' Tom Hammond, Scott Hamilton, and Sandra Bezic, as well as many CBC Sports reporters, applauded the Canadian duo, believing that they had won the gold. Right after the scores were announced, the cheering crowd turned into boos. Thousands of stadium-filled fans expressed their outrage at the final placements. Later, word came around saying that the French judge had confessed to Sally Ann Stapleford, the chairwoman of the ISC Technical Committee, about the fixed pair skating results. Marie-Reine Lagounet started saying that the head of the French Federation pressured her to vote for the Russians no matter the performance because of an alleged vote trade within ice dancing. This meant that the Russians would vote in favor for the French and vice versa. Sally contacted the ISU and the Olympic Committee launched an internal investigation with the FBI. Lagounet repeated these statements in the post-event interview meetings with the other skating officials. However, in the following week, she issued a number of retractions, saying that she felt the Russians truly should have won. The internal investigation later uncovered an alleged Russian mobster who was charged for conspiring to fix the Olympic ice dancing and pair skating results. The mafia kingpin in question was then arrested and fined for the attempt. Eventually, Lagounet and the head of the French Federation were put on trial, and they were both suspended for 3 years as well as prohibited from the 2006 Winter Olympics. Under the decisions from the IOC, the Canadians were given a gold medal as long as the Russians got to keep theirs. From its inception in 1905 up until 2004, figure skating used the 6.0 system. The 6.0 system is a scoring system based on the majority. There would be an odd number of judges on the panel, usually a maximum of 9, and a referee. The winner of the event would be the one to place highest by a majority of judges. After the duration of the short and free skate program, the competing skater would be then given a score by each judge between 0 to 6 points in the technical merit and the presentation. The technical merit is based on required elements, quality, difficulty, and execution, like jumps, spins, and step sequences, as well as overall cleanliness of the program. In comparison, the presentation portion of the scores rely on the artistry, coherent musicality that matches the music, and the overall composition of the program. Then the scores would be averaged out to make a final placement. The free skate carried a bigger chunk of the overall placements because the program was longer, therefore requiring more stamina and held a broader amount of requirements. The problem with the 6.0 system was that it was hard to understand as a skater. difficult to interpret as a coach, and terrible to reflect on as a judge. Gail Tanger, one of the people who worked on creating the new system, helped fix some of the problems the 6.0 system was creating. It instead used the judges to apply a score in real time as the skaters is performing rather than having to remember what the program was like. It also gave the different elements their own unique scores, and based on how well the skaters does it, they earn points. In an interview, Jamie stated what she liked about the system was that, quote, the difficulty that goes into your element is actually quantified. You're rewarded for it, unquote. She says that the change in the system has challenged figure skaters to push the boundary on the sport's technical element. However, she also stated that while it benefited figure skating as a whole, the emphasis on accumulating points have seen a decline in artistry and creative storytelling. This was a major change in figure skating, as it helped the skaters to better understand their weaknesses, as well as provide an accurate placement of the competitors. Without this event, this would have never happened, and many other corruption-based scandals would have occurred. The 2002 pair skating scandal was the most significant out of all the other incidents because it was the most predominant cause in the changing of the scoring system. This allowed for new rules, new loopholes, and new scandals that happened under its veil. The change of the scoring system was revolutionary to the development and the future of figure skating. This was to make the scoring system more objective and less prone to unfairness. Although it didn't work that well, it kept some of the corruption out. The International Judging System, IJS, is based on cumulative points with element values and grades of execution, GOE. Johnny Ware explained that the new 2004 system greatly benefited his unique style of skating. He mainly focuses on artistic aspects of skating with a mix of athleticism, and the new system was perfect for both. Besides the 2002 pair skating scandal, there are many other incidents that some might deem more noteworthy or important to the development of the sport. Scandals like the Harding-Kiernan scandal, which is a huge controversial topic even until now, the modesty and the category rule changed the dress code for women's costume forever. Sure, they might have had some kind of impact on figure skating, but none of them compared to the lasting mark the pair skating scandal had. The other incidents only resulted in minor rule changes, unlike when the pair skating event had been the reason of revamping and led to the creation of a new judging system. The 2002 pair skating scandal was a turning point in history because of the new system in response to the scandal. Without it, there wouldn't have been a push for change in the sport, and there wouldn't have been much focus on the skaters rather than judges when the placements were made. A step in both the athletic and artistic fields were made, and the new system benefited people like Johnny Ware, Luna Kim, and Yuzuru Hanyu, who inspired millions of people by skating their passions. It was all made possible by the 2002 pair skating scandal and the push for justice.